Okay. This is Bob, A Mark.
All right, Mom, you ready?
I'm ready.
And you take 2, 8.
Okay, A can't speak.
And we hit that common marker. Right? A marker. One sec.
Take your time. What do you think?
I'm thinking that I need to talk about humble beginnings and putting in hard work. Culture at OES has evolved over the years, really. At some point during our evolution, we needed to look at not necessarily what made the most money, but what fostered some of the best relationships. Things where we had to legitimize ourselves first and foremost and make money and be profitable.
I was an internal auditor for DPR. I was hired by Doug, Peter, and Ron in the beginning. And I would look at projects across the country. So I got a call for OES, and they were closing their books. This was 2000, 2001, probably 2001. So looked at the books, and then the books weren't quite what they were, presented to the company. So I got the call to go take a look at it, and then would you like to maybe help out OES and help, I don't know, put it together. Peter Nosler changed the name in 1999 to OES Equipment, and that's when the name changed. Organized Efficient Services was the name, and it was a moniker, DPR, and they got rid of Triton and they called it OES, and that's the beginning of the name of OES. The fish. It's the fish story. Will it sink or will it swim, right? I love that about OES in the beginning. There wasn't a lot of hand-holding.
And one of the things that Bob had told me was, hey, this is like running your own business, right? And that opportunity. And so I thought to myself, I said, so you mean I can go out to the bars in San Diego and say I'm running my own business? But to be honest with you, part of it was my individual ability to make change. I felt like that I could. I felt that the opportunity at OES was really great. It was something that I think wasn't quite fully formed.
Because I remember when we first took over or got involved, we did inventory at 9 places. And it was me and one guy.
Do you remember how we were afraid to keep the lights on overnight because of the electric bill?
The budget was low.
We didn't have a refrigerator in the branch for a few years until one of the job sites closed out and we got their refrigerator and put it in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Challenges were, turn the idea of OES around. That was the first thing, right? We are a positive company. Call us. We're your best friend.
When we were first developed, right, over time, it was really, we didn't want to say no. And that's a challenge. I remember getting a call for Ziploc bags on a project. And I thought, this is so ridiculous. We're going to go to the grocery store to get Ziploc bags. But it saves the project from having to go out and do it themselves.
Then it was growth. Because if we're sitting in a cocoon in the West Coast, how do we reach out to the East Coast and then backfill to the Central? So the challenges were presentations, results.
I can't even remember who started the conversation, but it was a conversation between Garrett and I, and I said, I think we can do this. I think we can make this grow.
We weren't guaranteed DPR's business. We weren't guaranteed anybody's business. So it was tough, right? You had to probably learn to get along with superintendents and foremen at your job site, start at that level, build that relationship. Then they tell their friends and their superintendents, and it builds, right?
So one of the big things at the beginning was we actually would process our paper and pay the bills. We started learning about taking discounts. So now vendors were paying attention to us because we were paying sometimes in less than 30 days. That got people's attention.
The evolution was somewhat of a natural evolution of the business, right? We got pretty good at a couple things, and not only that, but we were doing that in a few markets, and then it went from a few markets to every market.
And it was also cool to see how we transitioned from being like this mom and pop, we all run independently, into an actual organized enterprise, right? Where we started to have departments and groups and a leadership team and an ops group and a F&A group, something that we hadn't seen before.
We've gone from 14 people to over 300, and that's something to be celebrated. You know, whether it's form work or specialties or electrical or scaffolding. I mean, we've got a ton of great, really talented people that are working on these things and solving problems for our customer base on a daily basis now. We're builders by nature, so building OES coincides with DPR's ability to wanting to build great things. And really, we've gone from, you know, how are we going to survive next month, and we're reporting in this monthly basis, and you have a gentleman and Mr. Logar calling you, going, what the heck's going on here? To really having ownership of that business and understanding it's a longer game, and there's investments, right? And it's not necessarily today's investment's going to pay off tomorrow, but there's some longer term strategy, and then looking out and saying, what else can we do within the market? What else can OES bring a value to in this proposition to our owners, our clients, and even, you know, more importantly, our employees?
You can see us in prime contract language. Astonishing, right? Like, we're there. We forged a new look at how you can operate a supply chain company within a construction company, and then also model it to do these on-site yards, and model yourself to go sell outside your parent company. So it's a fantastic thing that kind of came together.
And I think at the end of the day, really, you know, our core values, our point of view, really is that's something that's foundational to not only DPR but all OES employees, really. And if we can anchor on those things and we go back to that, we won't go wrong.
OES is a unique animal, beginning and even now, right? We do resell like a resale company. We do rental like a rental company. We do services like a service company.
Being the builder's partner of choice is not something we take lightly. It's really understanding that it may not necessarily be sales driven. It may be partnering with someone, maybe understanding what their needs are at the time. And partnering it means establishing relationships and caring for one another and caring for others in the same way you would want to be cared for.